Hello Muggles and welcome back to my Harry Potter kitchen, the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, making recipes for all the food and drink featured inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we made all the trimmings for our great fall feast, then check out the links down below in the description to catch up. But it is a Magic Monday, so let's see what new recipe is waiting for us today. If you've still got room for more after last week's recipe and you don't want to miss what's coming next, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert every Monday when there is a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, let's not waste any more time and get back to the feast. We did 6 recipes in one last week, but there is still plenty more to come. He had never seen so many things he liked to eat on one table. Roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops and lamb chops, sausages, bacon and steak, boiled potatoes, roast potatoes, chips, Yorkshire pudding, peas, carrots, gravy, which we made as part of our roast chicken recipe, and ketchup. Things are about to get saucy. For this recipe, you will need 500 grams of tomato passata and 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 60 milliliters of white wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, celery salt, paprika, mixed spice, and cinnamon. Now I feel like ketchup is one of those condiments that we always just take for granted. You see it in restaurants, you get it from the supermarket, but have you ever wondered what actually goes into it? There are tons of herbs and spices in the different versions of ketchups you get out there, but I absolutely recommend you make it at home. It is super easy. You literally just have to add everything into the pan and let it cook through. But the flavours that you can bring out in your own ketchups are incredible. So here is my Harry Potter recipe. As I mentioned, making your own homemade ketchup is super simple. You want to do this in quite a big pan, as this is going to give us as much room as possible for those flavours to simmer. Pop it onto a medium heat and then start adding in your ingredients. First up are our 2 types of tomatoes, tomato passata, which is a smooth tomato sauce, and tomato puree, which is going to give us a sweet, intense flavour. I was quite surprised at how much sugar there is in ketchup, so feel free to reduce this down to your tastes, but 4 tablespoons was just about right for me. Then for some sharpness, we're also going to add in some white wine vinegar, and for a sharp but sweet taste, our balsamic vinegar. And then all you need to do is add in your herbs and spices, so that's your salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, celery salt, paprika, mixed spice, and cinnamon. Now you may be wondering why I've used onion and garlic granules and celery salt rather than the real things. Of course, the real ingredients do have more flavour in them, but I prefer a really smooth sauce. So that's why I've gone for the granules. If you're not too fussy, then you can use the real things, and if you want it to be a bit smoother, pass it through a blender or a sieve after it's finished cooking. Give your ketchup ingredients a really good stir and then bring it up to the boil. Keep on stirring just to make sure it doesn't catch or burn at the bottom, and then reduce the heat to a low simmer. Pop a lid on top to prevent it from splashing, and then leave it to simmer and let the flavours mature for an hour. Now an hour does seem like a long time to just make ketchup, but we don't want this to turn it into a spicy bolognese sauce. We really want to give it as much time as possible to bring out all of the natural sweetness in the tomatoes, as well as all those herbs and spices to give you the ultimate homemade ketchup. While it is cooking though, I'm going to show you how you can sterilise your jar to make sure that when you keep it, it stays as fresh as possible. Sterilising your jars is simply the process of using boiling water to kill off any bacteria in your container. This is an important step as it means that when we put our ketchup in, it will stay fresher for longer. The easiest way to do this is take boiling water and then fill up your jar all the way to the top. Leave it in there for about 30 seconds and then, being careful not to burn yourself, use a tea towel or gloves to pour out the water. You then want to pop that into a preheated oven upside down, allowing it to dry completely. This way we're not using any kitchen towel or dishcloths to dry it, as they could be carrying bacteria themselves. It is a really quick but important step, and it will mean your ketchup lasts longer. And it really is that easy to make your own ketchup. I feel like this is probably one of the quickest and simplest recipes that we're going to have on my Harry Potter kitchen. So while we've got a bit of time to our hands, I've got a question for you. Let me know down in the comments. Do you eat ketchup or do you drink it? I feel like it's one of those pseudo liquids, so it could go either way, but I want to know what you think. So let me know down in the comments and we'll find out who votes for what. After an hour, you can remove the lid and you'll notice that your ketchup is much darker in colour. That's how you'll know that it is fully matured and all your flavours have intensified. Working as quickly as possible, you want to remove it from the heat and pop it into your sterilised jar. Closing the lid while it is still warm will mean that the heat will create a bit of a vacuum to keep it even fresher. Allow it to cool completely before you pop it into the fridge though. So there you go. This is definitely a recipe that I'd recommend everyone tries out at least once in their life. It is super easy to make. All it takes is one pot and your ingredients, and trust me, it will blow your guests away. They won't have tried anything like it before. Let me know in the comments if you do try it out and what you thought. That is all for now, but if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert next Monday when there is a brand new video. See you then.